Sup my lovely bushes, welcome back to another moveset prediction for Dragon Ball FighterZ. Amongst the three remaining characters, I think there are a few favorites to make it into the game, and one of those favorites is, in my opinion, Super Buu. A major villain in Dragon Ball Z is not easily ignored, and having wiped out humanity and bested most of the Earth's defenses until Vegito came along, he is without a doubt a favorite upcoming DLC character, and the top tier potential is huge. Think about it, stretchy limbs like Kid Buu, but big boy with antenna grabs. Run for your lives, here comes Super Buu. Brought to you by Keeps. Did you know that 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35? As a 31-year-old, this is concerning. I think I'll be fine. I come from a long line of strong-haired men, but not everyone is so fortunate. And that's okay because Keeps is here to help you. And they've made it so easy that you can actually get treated from the comfort of your house. No need to go to the doctor and get a prescription. You can visit a doctor online with Keeps and get the medication you need delivered to your home every 3 months. There's no magic solution, there's no special potion that you drink to grow a full head of hair. The best way to keep your hair is by preventing hair loss. Treatments can take up to 4 to 6 months, sometimes even more, to see results. So the sooner you start using Keeps, the more hair you will save. So if you're noticing that you're losing your hair, do something about it. For a limited time, if you go to keeps.com/Globku, you'll get 50% off your first order. Link down below. Thank you Keeps for sponsoring this video. Let's start with his intro. When Super Buu was first born, he came out from a pile of pink smoke. As his form is revealed, he cracks his neck, which is something he did many times throughout the show, and that's how you know he's ready to fight. For his victory pose, he's gonna let all of his rage out with this powerful yell, warping and destroying his surroundings. Alright, with the cinematics out of the way, let's move on to how this character behaves in general. One of the most iconic features that Super Buu has in the show is how he absorbed Piccolo, Gotenks, and Gohan to become stronger. This ability has to be represented somehow in his moveset. Arc System Works has denied us transformations and installs on so many different characters, but this time Super Buu is one of those few that absolutely needs it. It is part of his core. It does not exist without the absorption ability. Either that, or we're gonna play as Super Buu with Gohan absorbed already. That would be his strongest form in Power Cells DLC, but I'm gonna swing for the fences and give him a way to absorb characters. Now, the most obvious way of implementing this would be if Buu kills Piccolo, he gains Piccolo's cape. If he kills Gotenks, he gets the jacket. If he kills Gohan, he gets the shirt. The problem with that is Dragon Ball FighterZ already has 40 characters, so the chances of you actually getting one of those 3 and transforming are pretty low, which would mean whatever you'd get out of those transformations would be so incredibly situational and rare, and that's no fun. Besides, you're killing your opponent and getting stronger. I feel like Arc Sys wants comebacks to be possible, so they wouldn't give you a character that snowballs that hard. It would go against their Limit Break and Sparking Blast and everything else that gives you that comeback potential. From a design standpoint, these would clash really hard. The second most obvious method of implementing this is to have Gotenks and Gohan on your own team with Super Buu as the anchor. As soon as those characters die, Buu gains their powers, transforming and absorbing those characters. But that would be the equivalent of the game forcing you to play a specific team, and that largely goes against the spirit of Dragon Ball FighterZ. Over its lifespan, we've seen so many patches making changes that allow you to be more creative with the teams that you pick, so this would be counter to all of that. Both of these are bad solutions, and I've actually thought of a few others, but the best one I've got so far is a level 2 super. Buu would have a normal level 1 super, pretty regular, but then holding down the button he would get a level 2 super. That wouldn't deal a lot of damage, but he would stop the fight, spot first Gotenks along with Piccolo and absorb them, and the second time he does it, he'd find Gohan and absorb them too, and that's regardless of who he's fighting. You're basically spending 1 extra bar, forfeiting the HC, and not dealing any extra damage to buff up your character. And if you do this twice, you've got the strongest possible version of Buu. And the reason why this costs 2 bars instead of 1, like adult Gohan's Potential Unleashed, is because you only need to do this twice in order to obtain his strongest form. While Gohan, to get to level 7, he needs to spend 7 bars. But then you ask, okay, so how can Buu absorb Gohan while I still have Gohan alive on my team? And to that I say, you're playing a game with 7 different Gokus. If you have a problem with 2 Gohans, you're playing the wrong game. So keeping in mind that Buu has 3 different forms, those being his base form, Gotenks, which includes Piccolo inside his head, and then Gohan, let's talk about his moves and how they will change within each version. First up, his normals, which might have some slight variations with his transformations, but this is not where we go crazy. Buu fights for 20 straight episodes in Dragon Ball Z, and that is just Super Buu, not Majin, not Kid Buu, just Super Buu, 20 episodes, which is gonna give us plenty of punches and kicks to choose from to make his entire moveset. To make Super Buu unique, we have to give him different moves from Kid Buu, but at the same time, keep some of the moves similar enough because they are, after all, the same character. During these 20 episodes, Super Buu does not stomp the ground once. That is Kid Buu's thing, so his 2M will remain unique. Super Buu will have to go for something else. In fact, he doesn't stretch his legs at all, but he does stretch his arms. So I could see some form of a stretchy arm move, probably his tending medium attack if you ask me, and it would most likely have a bigger reach or be faster once Buu transforms. I also really like this jumping down heavy, which happens very frequently during these 20 episodes, and that looks exactly the same as Kid Buu's jumping down heavy, so we're gonna keep them similar. A move that he actually does a couple of times is this backhanded punch, and it always lands with such high impact that I kind of feel like it needs to be part of his moveset. Probably a jumping medium, if not even a heavy attack. He also uses his antenna a lot, especially once he transforms, so I'm thinking his down heavy could be similar to Kid Buu's, but becomes buffed as he transforms since the antenna also becomes bigger. And we all know how bad Kid Buu's down heavy is, so buffing it on a character that's not broken yet shouldn't be an issue. So let's move on to his Ki Blast, and here we're gonna see a significant difference between the different Buu versions. Now, despite Buu being very able to throw Ki Blast flurries, more often than not he just throws Ki Blast with his fingers, similar to Frieza. So we're gonna give him the Frieza Ki Blasts on the ground during all of his forms. The difference is, on his base form, that's all he's gonna get. No Ki Blast in the air, just the grounded finger blasts. When he absorbs Gotenks, he unlocks this double-handed beam in the air. After Buu jumps, he puts his hands together and throws a beam downwards. I'm thinking something similar to Gogeta's Gallic Gun here. Similar properties and angle even. And then once he absorbs Gohan, that's when the Ki Blasts go nuts. In the show, he flies while shooting Ki Blasts from all of his fingertips, but what comes right after that is what's interesting to me. He throws these heavier blasts shaped like donuts while advancing, and they straight up beat Goku and Vegeta's Ki Blast. So I'm thinking something like Cell's 2S, but with higher priority Ki Blast, something that would even catch super dashes. Now, in order for this move to not be broken, it wouldn't be plus on block, and you could still punish it by super dashing above Buu. So if you're jumping around, this is a terrible move. Still, it would be a powerful tool, but to access it, you would need to transform twice, so that's a good compromise. That's it for Ki Blast. Let's move on to his special moves, and we're gonna go even crazier with the transformations here. To give you a very simple example, we're gonna give him a beam. A beam that comes out of his mouth. You know how Gotenks has a mouth beam? He got that from Super Buu, straight up copied him. So Buu is also gonna get that, both grounded and aerial, but then once he absorbs Gotenks and Piccolo, that beam gets a little damage buff, and instead of the mouth beam, it's now the special beam cannon. And once he absorbs Gohan, it becomes the Kamehameha and gains once again a damage buff. This is how most of his special attacks would work. With every Buu transformation, his moves get stronger and there's a clear visual difference of where they're coming from. Next, we're gonna give him a grab, because as I rewatched the Buu saga as research for this video, one of the things I was not expecting was how much Buu actually fights using his antenna. I'm gonna call that an antenna, okay? Particularly grabbing opponents and either throwing them or smacking them around. So at the start, this would be a pretty bad grab. Either have some slow startup, or the range is bad, or don't allow it to do much after the grab. But once Buu transforms once, his antenna becomes bigger immediately, and now the grab is a real threat. We can have all kinds of follow-up attacks, the smashing around, the throwing, a headlock, even a suplex. Buu has done all of these. And with the EX version, we could see his entire body trapping the enemy instead of just the antenna for a better follow-up and more damage. Next, we have to include his cannonball. Even though Kid Buu already has a cannonball-like move, Super Buu uses it all the time, but it doesn't really put any spin on his cannonball like Kid Buu does, so this cannonball is gonna work a bit different. Instead of it being a high-low mix-up tool like it currently is, it will work a bit more similarly to Goku GT's reverse Kamehameha. Buu would curl up into a ball, and just like GT, you'd be able to choose its direction, so you can use it to back away or to approach your opponent, to go up, down, back, forth, controlling your movement like that. Now, Goku GT can use the reverse Kamehameha up to 3 times. Super Buu would only be able to use it twice with the light version, the medium version would do it 3 times, and I like to call the heavy attack version the bonus round. Basically, you can use the heavy attack version whenever you want to do one more cannonball. So again, taking GT as an example, he does it 3 times, and now he would be able to spend half a bar to do one more. And he doesn't need to stop there. As long as you have meter, you can keep doing it. So with 7 bars, he could do it 3 times with the medium attack version, plus 14 times with a heavy attack button. Probably a waste, but hey, you can do it if you want to. This ability is the only one that doesn't really change with his transformations. It's kind of the same from start to finish. Next, Next, Super Ghosts, and this is an ability that he straight up does not have at the start of the fight. He only gets this after absorbing Gotenks. He spits out a kamikaze ghost, which then flies at the opponent and explodes, whether it's blocked or it actually hits. The ghost behaves on its own. It's not like Gotenks' ghosts. He cannot delay the kamikaze ghosts, he cannot control them to some degree. It works a bit more like Nappa's Cyberman, where he has a long planting animation and usually needs to be covered by an assist. But then the Cyberman just kinda does its own thing. Only instead of planting ghosts, Buu is spitting them out of his mouth. And then once he transforms again, absorbing Gohan, he gains a new ghost ability, which is the Super Ghost Kamehameha. Instead of the ghost flying at the opponent and blowing up, it will first throw a beam and then blow up. And Buu can choose which ghost to spit. With the same command, if it just taps the button, the ghost comes out normal. But if the player holds the button during the spitting animation, the ghost will throw the Kamehameha before exploding. Finally, Buu's final special attack is this projectile shield, and he only gets it after absorbing Gohan. It's exactly what you think it is. Very similar to Broly's, it is a way to deny zoning, but he only gets it after transforming twice. Now, moving on to supers, I feel like Kid Buu has robbed this guy from a lot of his best moves. For instance, when he destroys humanity, that's Kid Buu's level 1. Against Vegito, when he gets desperate, he throws this huge orb of destruction. That's Kid Buu's level 3. So instead of giving him the same supers, we're gonna try to stay original. One thing that Kid Buu never did was get inside a person and blow them up. Oh my god, that is disgusting. Super Buu did this as soon as he was born on some random guy that shot him with a machine gun, and I thought, okay, that's gross, but that's a good character moment, even if the move is a bit gimmicky. But then he tried to do the same thing on Vegito, so I thought, okay, I think Buu thinks this move is good. So we're gonna make this his level 1 super, and of course, if it doesn't kill, the opponent is gonna puke him back out. This is also the super where you can hold the button, spending another bar of meter, at which point you will find Gotenks or Gohan, depending on your transformation, and absorb them. But like I explained at the start of the video, if you choose to do that, you can no longer call an assist for a follow-up super. That is a decision you're making to power up your own character. You're losing out on damage, you're losing out on potential pressure afterwards. Next, his level 3 is gonna be taken directly from one of his most iconic moments. Once he gets out of the hyperbolic time chamber and kills every single character that remains on Kami's lookout with an explosion of candy beam. This is a full screen level 3, just like Kefla's, that will turn your opponent into chocolate, which then Buu will eat, and then spit him back out if it doesn't kill the opponent. And last but not least, we're gonna give him another level 3, this time a more powerful level 3, where Buu will self-destruct. This super is not like Android 16's, it doesn't kill in one hit, but it does deal more damage than a normal level 3, like base Goku's Spirit Bomb. And just like the Spirit Bomb, it will not be easy setting this one up, because this level 3 would have a bigger startup. So kind of like Ginyu's Body Change or again Goku's Spirit Bomb, you'll need very specific setups to put this one in a combo. And since Buu self-destructs, he's gonna take a break. He's gonna go out on the bench, your next character will come out onto the stage while he recovers some of that blue health, putting his own pieces back together. If he is the last character alive though, he's gonna stay on the stage, a ton of blue health as well, but while he puts his pieces back together, he's gonna lose that level 3 pressure. And there you have it, folks. That is Super Buu's moveset prediction. There are still so many abilities we didn't talk about that could actually make it into his moveset, like the ability to vacuum with his mouth, blowing out of his mouth really hard to reflect projectiles, yelling at an empty space to create a portal, the Gotenks donuts, dodging attacks like a turtle, creating a smoke screen. There is so much to this character that I bet the team would have a blast developing him. And honestly, I can't wait to see what they do with him. Don't forget to check out Keep's link down below. Go get that 50% discount. Thank you so much for sponsoring this video, and I want to hear from you folks. Which character would you like me to tackle next? Let me know in those comments down below, and as always, thank you very much for watching. My name is Globku, and I'll see you next time. Bye!